everybody. I'm so excited to be here. I was just laughing because I could not get the tripod to go down, but now I got it. So we are going to be talking about resilient biomes, and man, Resilient Biomes is such a good program. It's so fun. I'm going to have my colleague Holly here. She's Parent-Led Health. She's amazing, and we're going to chat through for you to join. You'll get to see our unique mix of collaborative effort. Hey.
Hi.
I was just saying how well we work together.
Me too.
Yeah, and Holly and I met in person actually 2 years ago, and I guess a year and a half ago, but we've known each other a little longer than that. And we've now done this program together for 4 rounds. 3 rounds. This is our 4th round. We've done it for 2 seasons, and we did 2 groups in the fall. And it was amazing. It was so good. So I just want to give a chance for you to introduce yourself, Holly, and then we'll start just kind of talking about resilient biomes. And if anybody has questions about the program, or if this is a good fit for you, you can go ahead and put that into the chat and we'll get to your question.
Yeah, great. Okay, so I'm Holly. I have 3 kids. They are 8, 5, and 4. So I'm out of the diaper / nursing / potty training, all of that kind of phase. We live in a homestead in East Tennessee, right in the mountains, in the Smoky Mountains. It's gorgeous. And so I'm a functional nutritional therapy practitioner. I have all these different, there's all the letters like after my name that everyone's like, what in the world is all of this stuff? Basically, I was a emergency room nurse, a critical care nurse for about 12 years. And then had my first daughter, and she wound up needing life support immediately after being born. So we were emergently transferred from the beautiful natural birth that I had planned, taken to hospital, air life, taken to other hospitals, like just a big traumatic experience with birth. She was on life support for a few weeks. I started crashing and I started going blind and losing the use of my hands and having insomnia and all of these things. And I didn't have any answers. So the people at the hospital saved her life, kept her alive. And then when we got her home, she started having all these recurring illness symptoms, and I still had all the symptoms. And so I pursued how can I actually heal this? Not just how do I mask symptoms, how do I get her, not just how do I get her off machines, but like how can I make her thrive? How can I make me thrive in this wild postpartum, my first postpartum time? And so I started discovering what actual healing is through nutrition, specifically through emotional work, through body work, through lots of different avenues that I'd never heard about as a nurse, and definitely not in like critical care emergency situations. And so now that's what I do with helping moms see, okay, maybe you're told this is, the medications are your only option, the procedures are your only option, there's no healing hope or anything, but there actually is. And we can do so much when we work holistically, support the body as a whole and support the mom to be able to heal both. So that's my story in a nutshell. And so I run different groups, and I love just helping moms actually see that there's another option. You've been told one thing, and mainstream, what most people think is that there's one option or nothing, but there are so many other ways to heal when we work holistically. So
Absolutely. Yeah, so Holly and I share our training overlap in both functional nutritional therapy practitioners, and we're both GAP practitioners. So that's a big way that we work foundationally with families, but we also have these tendrils and these avenues that we're both interested in that work really, really well together, which is why I was like, hey, come be my counterpart in this, because I really, parents come to me with questions that I actually don't know the answer to. So I need more help. I need help for, people with certain medications or experiences in the hospital that I have no clue what they're going through. And so Holly can really lend her expertise in that area, but we share this beautiful foundation of the things that we know that heal. And just hearing a little bit about Holly's birth story, it's very similar to mine, which is another reason why we collab so well together. I didn't have a child that ended up on life support, but I did have a cesarean, which was horrible, horrific, a major surgery that was not treated with care. And I was sent home with like no answers, exactly what you said. That's what I think too. And so I started to put these things together for myself, apply things that I knew worked for adult humans to a baby, and made it really specific and innovated on the trainings that I had done. And Holly and I have both done that together in this co-creation of resilient biomes. And so essentially what the program is, it's a group cohort. We go through 3 months together where every participant has an intake form. So we get to know your story and we tailor the group to the collective. So whatever lessons that we teach in the beginning of each session has to do with what the moms are going through. So we cover things like flares, we cover things like bum-biotics, we cover things like lymph flow, we cover the detox pathways. We help moms understand what their role is in healing, and actually what the father's role is too. So in this round, because it's winter, we're going to layer all of that on top of the seasonal medicine. So each season presents us with different information, tone, and all of that is something that we can use for ourselves to strengthen our families. And what you do to heal in the summer is going to be different than what you do to heal in the winter. And so Holly and I both live what we teach. We don't teach hypotheticals. We don't teach maybe this will work. We teach principles that are grounded in the practices that we do every single day with our family, that we have been through with our own children, and that we have worked with thousands of families to help them get the results that they're seeking. So some of the seasonal medicine that we're going to be focusing on has to do with what's going on with your kidneys, your adrenals, your nervous system. I have personally gotten a ton of requests around emotions, grief, and one of the things about winter is that it's dark. And so this really isn't a time to make a ton of huge changes. We're going to focus on conserving and concentrating your energy so that when the spring comes, you can blossom and bloom. And one of the emotional components that comes with this is courage. Courage is the candle that lights the dark, right? So we're going to look at courage. How can we be courageous? What do we need to feel more courageous, secure, in that rest, in that peace that we're going to be, hunkering into in winter, so that when spring comes, we can take the medicine of spring.
Yeah, I love that. I love the courage piece. I talk to my kids about we need to be courageous, right? They're young, they have different fears, right? And it's so easy to talk to kids about that. And then moms, for us, we often think like, okay, I need confidence, I need clarity, I need my next steps. But the courage component is such a huge one. So I love that we're focusing on that right now, because when we don't have, courage is that like having a fear and pushing forward, right? Like it doesn't mean that we have no fears. It doesn't mean that we have no hesitancies or second guessing, but it means that we do have enough clarity and understanding of what's going on so that we can push through the fears and the hesitancies that we have. And so that's a huge part of what I do with like what we're doing together, is helping every mom who comes in have a clear plan so that they can have the courage to move on. Because I mean, without that, we get stunted, right? And there's a lot of people that I worked with who are like, hey, I'm doing these initial foods And we've just been on them forever, and now I have no idea where to go from here. I'm just scared to move on from here, right? And you can get stuck, and when you get stuck, like there's no freedom and growth when we're stuck, even if we're stuck in what was a healing place before. But
Right.
we have to move on from whatever healing place we're in and keep on growing that, and that's where that courage to be able to do that comes in. So that's why we're here. We're here to like encourage you to have the courage to be able to keep doing the things that you need to do, whether you know the things you need to do and you just need that push and that encouragement, or if you don't, you really don't know, and you're stunned, you're halted and you're frozen where you are. That's where we come in to help you with advancing. And we're really big on like, let's actually see growth. We're not going hypothetically, like Kate said, right? We're not just like, this is a nice thing to do. Like, no, we want to actually see growth every single week. We want to be able to see changes happening and moving forward. And the expectation with this group is that we see progress.
Yes.
We see changes.
Yeah. Absolutely. I always say this is a results-driven process with the spaciousness to allow the body to heal in the time that it takes to heal. So we don't give timeline guarantees because every body is different. And actually, one of the things that happens is moms will come to us after a few weeks. They're checking in every week in the group. And then on week 3 or so, they're like, well, this happened. And like, that feels like 10 steps back. And Holly and I are able to see that through a lens of like, actually, that's a great progression. And here's how you're going to support what the body's asking you to do. So we are educating you to listen to the body and to tune into your family's ecosystem. Because if we were just to address what's going on in the child without actually looking at the whole family system and starting to address that in the mother, the child could collapse back into the symptoms very easily because the changes are not being made systematically. And so that's why this is a systems approach to transformation, right? Like it's actually not, yes, you're going to come in with this really strong, front facing symptom, and that's going to resolve. But on that path, so many other things are going to click into place that weren't there before, which is going to create a sustainable structure, a resilient biome for you to live in going forward, right? Like it's not just addressing the symptoms, it's actually taking stock, right? I love to say taking stock and taking stock because we're looking at what is actually happening within your family system, what's happening within your body, and what's happening within your child's body. And then we're literally taking stock by drinking meat stock because that's the foundational food that we use to heal, right? And so there were so many great things that Holly said as we were going through, one of which is that parents come to us and they bring this initial problem and we're able to flesh it out and help them see all the different facets that they need to work so that their symptom resolves at the root of it, or in the ground, in the soil of your family.
Yeah, definitely. I was talking with a new patient I've been working with about the pillars of holistic health. So not just like, okay, you're coming with this one thing, right? Maybe it's asthma, or maybe it's, eczema, right? And it's really easy to just be focusing on that. But when we're looking at the body as a whole, well, okay, so as moms, it's easy to get very tunnel vision, right? And like, okay, well, I'm not seeing a change in this. How do I know if this is helping? How do I know if this is really seeing changes? But what we can see, and this is where Kate and I help, is seeing the other components, right? I always talk about your poop, your mood, your skin, your sleep, right? Like those are always what we're evaluating. But there's other components, there's other pillars also that we're going to be giving you recommendations and like giving you advice on a holistic level. So sometimes you're going to be like, okay, but I came from my kids, lungs. Why am I giving beet fast? It's helping their liver, right? But there's all of these components. There's the nutrition component, there's the detox component, there's emotional components. With everything, like you were saying, with grief, that's a huge one right now because grief is very instrumental with the lungs. And so with so many people having the flu and having respiratory illness right now, like that's a huge one that needs to be addressed. There's the adrenals and stress, there's blood sugar, there's the microbiome, there's all these different pillars that we are looking at together to see your unique system and your unique, symptoms and issue that you're coming and bringing your child with from the lens of this huge holistic view. And when we address all of those pillars, we're actually seeing the healing happen. And not just with your kid or with you, but with everyone in the household. It usually comes along, right? Like we see change. It's really
Yeah,
fun.
exactly.
It's very fun.
Yeah, that's the mama baby biome aspect, right? Like it's the mother who's the health authority and she helps the whole family heal by healing herself. So, is there any, without like naming names and stuff, but is there any testimony story, a woman, a mother who went through a group that really stands out to you, just with their total transformation? And do you want to share, kind of where they started and where they ended up?
Yeah. So the first thing that comes into mind is somebody you're going to probably know who I'm talking about, but someone who really came just with so much, there was so much tension and second guessing herself. And her kid was having symptoms, which is why she came, but just this, just like a panic and oh, I feel like I should do this, but I haven't done it yet, and I don't know how to do it, right? And because actually this could apply to numerous moms.
I know, I'm like,
So
I think we're
common,
talking
right?
about a lot.
You're like, which one are we talking about? This is so common. So if this is you, like this is
Yeah.
not at all a judgment call on you, because this is so common. This is absolutely where I was for sure. Um, but by the end, just being able to see so much clarity and being able to, at the end, we always ask like, okay, so tell us your, just tell us where you're at. Like, where do you think? Where do you think you have come, right? And the peace that we see, so this one mom in particular I'm thinking of, just seeing her face just relaxing in each one of our consecutive calls, and even just having more of like a glow to her and a confidence, whereas in the beginning it was like, okay, I don't know what to do, I just need you to tell me what to do. And by the end she was saying, hey, this happened and I tried this and it worked and I knew what to do. And there was just so much more of this like peace that was just all throughout her. So her child was healing, but that was that's the first thing that popped into mind, is just this peace that came, that we could see physically, tangibly, and that she felt just going through the process. That was just such a blessing for me to be able to see that, bringing that blessing to others.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so many of the moms start with less confidence. And this is a specific example. Like people are doing the healing foods. They're in one of my programs already. And they're like, I'm doing this, and I'm still having this result. And so we just say, like, oh, you just need to do more. Oh, you just need to let your child eat the unlimited amount of that. And they're like, wait, what? And it's like, yeah, just allow your child, like, let your kid desires lead. This is actually a very, it's an intelligence piece, right? They are smart. We can trust this. We can trust their bodies. And that is huge because the mother and the child learn to trust each other inside of this healing process, inside of this transformation. And so by the end of it, there is different output, right? There is a different posture. There is a glow from the inside out because the foods have gotten better. Oh man, we see the kids. This is beautiful. I mean, we see children fill out. We
Yeah.
see their eyes brighten. We see their skin change. We see their bowels start to move. We see their eczema clear up. Like it is so, so powerful what we can do in a short amount of time, actually. And then there's this other beautiful lesson with inside that like it happens in layers. And you get to learn and see, witness your child changing and your own self changing alongside them because you're in a container where you're trusting the process alongside other moms, essentially. Like that really does build us all up. It's so exciting to see. One other specific example I would note is that a mom came in our one of our earlier cohorts, and she was having trouble with getting her child to eat enough. And so not only did her daughter start eating more within the program, but she started eating more and differently too. And this mom is actually a medical professional. She like went to school for she helps people in that sense, like a medical provider. And a couple months ago, she sent me a message saying that she was so grateful for the program because shifting how she eats and nourishing herself more fully completely transformed her mental health. So she was on the brink of a divorce. She had depression, anxiety, didn't know where to turn. And now suddenly she has an entirely different life, does not want to get divorced anymore. Her daughter eats And if her daughter doesn't eat the way that, the full healing, all the healing foods in one day, she doesn't panic because she's like, I can trust my daughter's desires. Like she's leaning more into cleansing foods, right? Rather than building foods. And she feels relaxed and calm. And in her own self, she no longer has that debilitating depression, anxiety. It put more purpose and meaning into her life. And now she can also share this with her clients. And so I mean, reading that kind of message is just like mind blowing because before we started, she did not say to me, like, oh, like, I mean, I knew about the mental health issues, but I didn't know the extent that it was impacting her marriage and her family. And just think about the implications for her daughter and what that means for the whole family structure. And that is exactly what we're talking about when we say that this is a systems approach. This is ecological healing. This is the whole biome of the family, which, yes, is microbial, but we're also looking at these functional nutrition perspectives and saying like, hey, blood sugar is top of the line here, that's why your daughter's waking up every night. Oh, like I think detox is happening, how can we support her liver, her gallbladder, her bowels to excrete the toxins better, more efficiently and effectively. And it's the type of thing that once you learn it, it integrates so nicely into your life because it's simple and straightforward. I actually just said this little example, like I don't buy any synthetic clothing anymore and I love to thrift. So it takes out like 70% of the options when I go to the thrift store. So I'm just like, cotton, okay, I'm getting it, And same thing with the food. Like it seems like, oh, this is complicated, but like 70% of your options are no longer options. And so it opens up this whole world of like, oh, I know what I'm making for dinner. It's not overcomplicated. I know where I'm sourcing my food. I know why we're eating these foods, and it's delicious, right? It feels so much better, just like the cotton.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, this is a lifestyle that I've been living for the last about 9 years now. And it's easy to think through like, I don't know how to transform all of my clothes and all of my pans and all of my food and how do I even go about this? But truly it just makes like the process just gets simple and easy, and like I would never want to go back, not only because we feel so well, but because there's so much peace in just living in a very straightforward way. Like I know my purpose, I know where I'm going with this, right? There's just so much peace in that. And that's a whole other component of helping, of working with moms in this program of like, let's just go one step at a time. What is it? What's the biggest thing that we need to work on right now? You don't have to transform your entire life right now, but how can we find what's the biggest thing that's putting stress on you, putting strain on you? Let's simplify that. Let's get that really dialed in, and then we can start moving on. I was thinking about a couple other kids in the programs. So picky eating is definitely a big one, right? But that's also it's a sign that the microbiome is out of balance. It's not a sign that you have a stubborn kid, right? So that is something that with going through the program, and it's a short program, right? Like it's not super long. And so we are, it's not like it's a year-long program that we're like, let's slowly work on this, right? But it is really cool thinking through, some kids who just would not take any meat stock in the beginning of it. And then we're like, all right, let's brainstorm, let's troubleshoot in a couple different ways, let's do this. But as you start changing the microbiome, you start seeing them loving it. So even if it's just they refuse, they would spit it out at me, they would throw it at me, they would not open their mouth for anything, to now they actually are having like 5 tablespoons a day. Like that is a huge transformation, And every single bit of healing food that we're getting in them is doing that work of changing the microbiome, changing how their body receives food, how it copes with stress, all of that. So there's a lot of different instances that we've seen with that. Yeah. Just that progression.
Absolutely. And, like think about this program as a concentrated time for you to really dive deeply into a healing protocol with support. So that is what this is. It's a concentrated time. It's, that dark blue indigo dye where you get to seep yourself into it and really just like embrace the medicine of the time, have us as your guides, and keep chugging along through the wild nutritionist concepts, which so many of you are familiar with, working through, working on, but need like a little bit more eyes on your case. Want the community aspect, want to hear directly from me and from Holly, what we think you should do. And then, and another thing is, like Holly said, as you go on, you're going to start to change your question and how you ask it. And you're going to say, am considering this as an option, and we're going to encourage you, like, yes, great, follow your intuition. Sometimes moms come up with like kind of like oddball ideas, and we're able to say like, absolutely, like your body is telling you that for a reason. Let's test it out. Let's try it. um, I was thinking of another case, which was a dairy, can't do dairy case. And we get this a lot. We work with a lot of people with allergies, intolerances, including allergies, anaphylaxis, eczema, that all of that in that range. And what this mom in particular was really wanting was to get her child onto dairy and to wean from nursing, because she had eliminated dairy from her diet. So she was feeling exhausted, ready to eat dairy again. And this baby was past the part of starting solids. And so we were able to work him up with camel ghee and then camel yogurt. And now he is on to camel kefir. And so I just got an email from her saying, hey, I'm celebrating this. We have made so much progress. He's eating enough from the camel milk that I am able to wean him. So that's just a huge win, right? And then now he's getting all that good nutrition, and he can move on to other types of dairy. And she's set up for that now. She doesn't have to rely on us because she went through the process with proper guidance and feels confident, and now can move on to the next step, which is just so cool. I mean, that is like so exciting. And we have success stories like that all the time. And people are scared of dairy, but we don't need to fear dairy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That made me think of another mom who was, her kid was having eczema when he started formula, but there was he wasn't gaining weight, and so they were recommended to start formula. But really, at that time, the eczema started, and we were able to coach her through. Okay, well, let's get him onto, because he was still really young, but let's get him onto a formula that's actually going to be nourishing him, rather than the one that's going to be causing toxins, as we can see, right? Like, it was very evident he was on the formula that was not helpful for his body, right? And so we were able to help her wean him onto the actual real food formula and start seeing the symptoms going away, because we were supporting his body really well through the foods. And the real food formula is basically just the real foods that we do for kids, just made into our formula. Liquid. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, helping babies get off formula is like one of my favorite things to do. We've helped a couple moms do that. I couldn't help you with that in the course too, but like a lot of parents are really nervous about that because there's a lot of fear mongering around what's actually safe. And like, we can completely clarify that for you. There have been multiple times where moms come 3 or 4 sessions in a row, pretty much asking the same thing, asking for permission. And that's that courage piece. They're building up the strength in their system to make a radical change. And that is difficult. And we can acknowledge that and hold you through that and shepherd you through that, because guess what? We've been there, like we've been there. So it's just, and both of us in our personalities, we're not afraid of fear. We work with fear. We're not afraid of the truth. We're going to be honest with you. And that's a real gift, because that transparency you don't get that everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And that, we don't like beat around the bush, right? I think, yeah, that's not helpful for anyone, right? So, I mean, that is probably a good thing for you to know, right? If you're considering coming and joining us, like, this is not just a feel good, let's all get together and just kind of vent and tell our stories. Like, that's not what this is. This is a very, I mean, we're there to support you, and we do hope that you leave feeling well and refreshed and encouraged, because you're actually pursuing truth, not that you're just pursuing validation of your fear, right? I mean, or like understanding your collaboration with your fear, right? But that we're gonna be supporting you to move ahead and move forward, and that's really where that courage and that confidence comes from.
Yeah, we're gonna dive into what is the story that you're telling yourself about the situation, because a lot of clarity can come out of those stories. So it's really interesting work, and winter's the perfect time to do this kind of thing. So for those of you that are here now, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. I don't think we got any questions yet. And we will go over the list of symptoms that we support. We can just kind of riff back and forth. So postpartum anxiety and depression, absolutely. Eczema, allergies, digestive symptoms, mucus and stool, reflux, colic.
Yep, blood and stool, FPIES. And just to reiterate, like, these are all things that we can support through what we're doing, right? These are all things these are symptoms, which regardless of if you have a diagnosis or whatever, these are just symptoms, which mean that your body is showing us something, right? So we're not going based on diagnosis. We're not saying, oh, come show us your papers with your labs and with your diagnosis. Like, totally beside the point, right? What we're doing is supporting your child's body to be able to heal from all of these. So yeah, we work with kids with respiratory illness. We work with kids with all kinds of skin. We've done psoriasis and eczema and other unknown
Rashes.
patches and rashes and
Yeah.
hives and things like that. Yep.
Yeah.
Did you say constipation? That's a big one that we work with. Loose stools. Yeah. Go ahead.
Constipation note, there's been several parents who've come through the program with children that haven't pooped for several days, and we get them pooping daily. We help them with the tools that they need to get the poop out, and we explain why this is exacerbating other aspects of their health, why it's so important to get the poop out, and all the different ways, the holistic, tips and tricks that we have up our sleeves that can really work to get the poop moving every single day. It's so important, and we have a lot of great success stories with constipation. That's probably one of our main topics that gets solved, and with good reason. Like, it's very concerning. You know that feeling if you're a parent who has a kid that's not pooping. You can see their pain. You can know that they're in pain. And so we're going to look at this from all of those holistic angles that are so important, including the nervous system and mom's nervous system, probiotics, microbial, liver, gallbladder. We're going to really look at this, plenty of fats, that kind of thing.
Yeah, sleep is another big one that we see, poor sleep, which is then obviously going and affecting mom and the rest of the family. And the kid's not sleeping well, tension. So you mentioned nervous system, like a lot of tension, a lot of tightness, restricted movement, things like that, just because of the nervous system tightness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that pretty much covers like immune stuff, chronic infections, immune system flares, allergies, like environmental allergies. We help with that as well. And I think, like, really, if you're feeling like, oh, this is my problem that I need to solve, and I feel my heart drawn to these two women, and like that this is the container for me, it probably is. So you can just go ahead and, send a quick DM if you have like a specific question. And for those of you that want to apply, I'm going to close applications today, maybe let it slide over to tomorrow. But just comment apply on this live or any of my reels, and you'll get the application link. And then we can have a call, or, I'll send you the link over to join us. And we're going to start next Tuesday.
Yeah, it's coming up soon. I'm excited. And so it's running from next Tuesday through March
31st.
31st. Okay.
Yeah. So it goes all the way through March. So we're going to actually pop into the spring solstice, which is kind of fun. Spring equinox is what I meant to say. We're going to go into the spring equinox. So that's going to be kind of fun to transition there. And yeah, I do run this program seasonally, but I am only taking it one season at a time, truthfully, for my own just capacity, because that's just the kind of gal I am. So we have the winter programs for sure. I can't guarantee the spring. But if you're interested really and you're feeling the call, trust that.
Yeah, perfect. Go ahead and DM. We're happy to answer more questions as they come in. And then I hope to see you there.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Bye, Holly. Thank you.
Bye.